Police are required to act within the law, regardless of their political agenda. If they have decided among their hierarchy to not arrest people because they don't want the bad press, it is not acceptable for them to pepper spray people because that is more convenient. Part of building a broad-based movement for social justice is creating the parallel institutions that we are creating here today. And that requires us being there for each other, reaching out to each other, and creating those institutions that will further us along on the path for social and economic justice.
Hearing all the violence people have experienced during our presence at the port at the hands of the police is pretty terrifying and upsetting. I also wanted to take this space to say that this ship, it didn't fall from the sky. It came from the occupied country of Iraq. And the violence that we have seen and experienced also didn't fall from the sky. It came with that ship. And just while we're doing this, just to remember that the Iraqi people get real bullets. So I wanted everyone to be just like super hyper aware. I catch myself all the time to be aware of the structures of power that are put in place in order to pit the people against the people. And remember that when you think of the workers and the troops and the counter-protesters, and let's not play into power's trap.
Saturday morning was very shocking to me because I've been in a lot of protests. I was in all the WTO, I've been to DC, I've been in protests there. I've been in lots of protests with a lot of police. But what happened Saturday morning was I'm used to the police warning. So I stay out of the way where I'm supposed to be. And so I was sitting in front of Batdorf and Bronson on the sidewalk, and I didn't hear anything. I was just sitting there and with my dog and with my sign that says "Be Peace," and I was drumming. And all of a sudden, a policeman shoved me and said, "Get over there." And I was shocked because I've never been touched by a policeman in all my protests. And then I stood up and I said, "I'm going to go over there." And so another one shoved me and said, "Get over there." And I said, "I'm going over there." And I walked over there.
I have been involved in PMR since 2006. I was in Tacoma and was arrested with a lot of the people in this room last March. I think I'm the person that originally was contacted about this ship coming in almost 2 weeks ago now, or whatever it was. It was a message to the city council, and of course the first thing I did was forward it to PMR so we could start organizing. I say that not because I'm a hero, but because that's not going to be there for us in January when I'm not on the city council. When I got down there Wednesday night, I was surprised because I had just come from chairing a meeting of intercity transit. I'm the chair of the intercity transit board. And one of the first things I saw there was an intercity transit bus behind the police lines.
Yeah.
And I wondered what the hell the bus was doing there and why the chair of the transit agency didn't know that. I walked up and asked them that question. And they detained me. And I said, "I'm the chair and I want to know." And I say this because this is another example of what we've got going here. The elected officials aren't in control of this. The City of Olympia, City Council, doesn't know very much about what's happening, when stuff is moving, when it's not moving. Near as I can tell, the decisions of when to move material have been made by the State Department of Transportation so as to not jam up I-5 and the military. And they sort of inform everybody else that it's happening. So again, the message is we can't count on our elected officials, even if they want to do the right thing, to have the information to do it. So I saw a lot of what other people described Saturday night, particularly the batons. That was the most disturbing as we were running down Market Street following the strikers. I was trying to take photos. And I saw a couple people just flat out clubbed across the chest and the collarbones with with clubs, and the cops didn't break a stride when they did it. They just kept running. Two things I didn't hear tonight that I witnessed. One was the direct spraying of the Olympian photographer. When he was screaming at the police that he was with the press, he was with the Olympian, he was photographing, and they continued to spray him. And the reporter was shoved back with batons by the police. Neither of those comments made it into the Olympian story, incidentally. After they broke up the group at the gate, I saw one person being dragged backwards by two officers, spread eagle like this. One cop on this arm, one cop on this arm. Another officer in front of him draining a full can of pepper spray into his face while he was already subdued and under custody. And then they simply threw him in the ditch on the side of the road, like a piece of litter. When I saw that, I moved forward to take a photo, and what I got for that was spray in the face, too. So I got a little taste of what this was all about. I also saw officers clearly realizing that the wind was at their back, blowing towards us in the dirt field, holding their cans of spray up here and just letting it off, knowing the wind was going to carry it across that field to people who had just moved to the area that we were told to move to. Came back that evening with an idea, and the idea was tonight. The idea was that I had watched people that I know and care about, and people I've never met, be traumatized and brutalized by people that supposedly work for me and you. And the idea occurred to me that we needed to have something like this to process our pain, to process our trauma, and to build some solidarity. I talked to a few people. We weren't sure anyone was going to show up. And, oh my goodness, thank you all for showing up. I think it's pretty clear to all of us that this war is so incredibly unpopular that the only way they can continue to wage it is with a significant crackdown on dissent here in this country, the kind of stuff we've been seeing. So I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we're going to see more of this, not less of this, as this thing continues. That's the short term. The long term is we're going to win.
Yep.
Because we've got truth, we've got commitment, and we've got power and solidarity on our side, and they can't beat that. We are going to beat them. It's just a matter of when, not if. So the question is, when you all leave here tonight, you're talking to your friends, you have a couple of choices. You can go home, you can do nothing, you can write letters to your congressman, you can stand on a street corner with a sign, or you can hope for divine intervention. Or you can get your asses down to the Port of Olympia, you can go to the port meetings, you can come to the city council meeting Tuesday night, and you can continue to demand that this change, and continue to insist that it change, and put yourself between this killing and your future, because that's what it's all about. So I know the choice I'm going to make. I think I know the choice most of you are going to make. The question is, let's challenge our friends and figure out what's the choice they're going to make.
Yeah.